Hey everybody, thanks for listening to the El Toro's podcast, exclusively now on Anchor.fm. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Here, let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on things like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can also make money from your podcast, which is always a plus, with no minimum listenership. And it's everything you need to make a podcast right at your fingertips and in one place. I can't believe it took me this long to switch over to Anchor.fm, but I couldn't be happier now. So, get yourself started and download the free Anchor app now, or go to Anchor.fm to get started.
Welcome everyone to episode 31 of the Capital Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, Sean O'Brien. You can catch it here every Wednesday at 12 o'clock on IRW Network and SoundCloud.com/ElTorresPodcast. Every Monday night, 6:05 live, go to gfqlive.tv to catch all new episodes of Capital Wrestling. Also, replays are on Twitch, PivotShare, and here on IRW Network. You can catch those right after the show airs. Now, if you'd like to follow us on Twitter, go to Capital Wrestling without the G, and also at Sean Neutron. If you want any business inquiries such as sponsorships or talent that would like to get in contact with Capital Wrestling, go to capitalwrestling@gmail.com. Want to give a shout out to some of our sponsors, the Spotlight Series podcast, the Shot of Wrestling podcast, and the Squared Circle Sound Off. If you want to purchase tickets for October 14th, Capital's return to Hoboken, go to tinyurl.com/capital4, that's the Roman numeral I and V at the end. Also go to capitalwrestling.com. You can purchase tickets there as well. If you'd like to purchase any of the your favorite wrestlers' entrance music, go to capitalwrestling.bandcamp.com. Shout out to Greg Massey and all the hard work he puts in there. And if you'd like to purchase any merchandise, go to whatamaneuver.net and prowrestlingtees.com. We got sweatshirts, beanies, hats. We got baby onesies. We got girls' shirts, everything, man. So go check those out. Give us your money. That's what we want. Also, a shout out to August on Sunday, who will be playing at our return to Hoboken at the Hopes Community Center at 301 Garden Street. Now, it's a fun episode this week. We're going to get to talk to the champion of the 1%, Logan Easton Laroux, on his return to Capital Wrestling. He wasn't the last one, but he'll be here come October 14th. He's going to be in the double main event, facing the Concrete Rose, Sonny Kiss. But first, for this week's show, we're going to talk to a very familiar guest. You might know him from Old Time Wrestling. You might know him from UCW, Wrestling is Magic. And now, obviously, he's with Capital Wrestling as well. And he's one half of Cheap Thrills with Jimmy Flame and one half of Sex Crazed with Smiley. He's the rock and roll model. He is Matt Sex Sells. What's up, Matt?
Not too much. What's up with you, Sean?
Oh, that's the usual, man. Just getting ready here, hyped for Hoboken, really.
Nice. I'm hyped to be returning. Enjoy working for Capital, and this will be obviously my Hoboken debut. I haven't seen the new venue, and it'd be nice to get to wrestle in a new city.
Yeah, I guess I'm going to try to get that hashtag trending, hyped for Hoboken.
Hyped for Hoboken, I like it.
I'm sorry, Hoboken. Matt gets mad at when I say Hoboken.
Say that 3 times fast.
Oh, I'll fail.
Yeah, I'm sure my southern accent comes out. Yeah, Hoboken probably sounds really weird coming out of my mouth, so.
And then you see the Virgin Mary in the mirror, right?
Hoboken. It's like Hadouken, is that?
Well, it is almost.
I'm fighting off a cold or allergies or something. So I'm sure it sounds even funnier coming out of my mouth, and it should be followed by sniffles. So that's great. It's exactly when you want to interview somebody, and they're like, "Hey, so here's what I'm doing for the next couple of weeks." So yeah, that'd be fun for you.
I mean, that's the best way to get you. I was planning to make sure you had a cold, and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to interview him tonight. Now, before we get too deep in anything, I just want to give a condolences to everyone who was affected by what happened in Las Vegas. This happened on Monday. It's very tragic, and on behalf of Capital Wrestling, just want to wish everyone, our thoughts and prayers in this really, really tough time.
Yeah, absolutely. I second that. There's not too many times I'm ever at a loss for words, obviously, but when stuff like this happens, definitely. So I'll second, yeah. Thoughts and prayers and positive vibes for for the nation and for the world and for definitely all those directly affected. And I know a few people from Vegas and that live in Vegas, and Vegas, of course, a great wrestling town. So very, very sad to hear about the events that transpired early this morning.
Like you said, lost for words. I'm thinking to myself, I'd like to post something on Twitter or Facebook, and I really don't know if I can encapsulate anything aside from, I guess, what others might see as just the same thing everyone else is saying. So that's not always a bad thing. It's just, I want to be able to do it justice. And, I just think, like you said, positive energy and prayers going their way, and just try to, help out however they can. I'm not sure if they've set up any sort of, crisis hotline or, donations or whatever it may be. It's just very, very...
Yeah, I'm sure those resources are out there. And I know what stuff I was reading earlier, they definitely need people to donate blood if they live in the Las Vegas area. So by all means, look it up, see what you can do. There's always ways to help with tragedies. And I guess if there's any silver lining to it, it's been nice to see people coming together a lot more on social media today than I've seen in recent times. So hopefully, like I said, a little silver lining to everything.
Yeah, exactly. And at this times, you just feel like, we want to come together and just bring all the positive energy that we can. And we see enough negative things on social media as it is.
Absolutely.
What have you been up to lately aside from fighting this cold?
Kind of the same old, my usual stuff. Definitely staying busy with the world of professional wrestling. As you mentioned earlier, one half of the old-time wrestling tag team champions with my partner Knuckles. That promotion based out of Williamstown, New Jersey. So I just successfully defended those tag team titles this past Saturday night. If you've watched Ring of Honor television recently, you can see backstage correspondent Matt Sells, who interviewed the American Nightmare, the Ring of Honor World Champion Cody, so up to that as well. Returning to Pro Wrestling Magic later this month, actually the week after my return to Capital Wrestling. Just made my Virginia wrestling debut, which I think was my 19th or 20th state I've wrestled in. When I worked with Jimmy Flame, tagged with him in UCW a couple weeks ago. And, of course, filming plenty of stuff for my always exciting comedy web series, It's Never Sunny in Atlanta. So the next 2 weeks of episodes I'm really proud of. They're ones that a lot of production's gone into and a lot of thought's gone into. They should be I'm interested to see what the response is going to be for them.
So I'm just curious. You mentioned the 19 or 20 states you wrestled in. Do you have a list somewhere that you write them down?
I do. I don't have it in front of me right now. I'd give you the exact number, but I try to keep track. Try to keep track with individual matches. And back in the day before they had cloud sharing, cloud storing, and everything, and I had a computer that had all of it saved on and didn't have it backed up to any sort of drive or disk or anything, and I lost it. But last count, I believe I'm somewhere over 1,200 matches at this point. So.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. So just goes to show your, the durability you have. I mean, you don't get injured very often, so it's very impressive.
Yeah, and the thing is I don't get injured often, but I make sure when I do that they're nice and catastrophic. That way I have one, and I'm out of the ring for 6 months, and then I don't have another one for another few years. So I figure, it's quality over quantity.
Yeah, I remember on the Squared Circle Sound Off, you opened up about your ankle injury that one time and how brutal it sounded. So, I mean, it definitely makes you, I guess, appreciate all the more when you are 100, healthy.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when you shatter your ankle and have to have it surgically reconstructed, it gives you kind of appreciation of everything you have to do. Yeah, that was definitely the biggest one I've had.
When the weather changes, do you feel it in your ankle?
Oh, I can tell you, when it's going to rain, it's awful.
So wouldn't people who get injured be like the best weather people? Like, why don't they apply for that?
Absolutely. It's funny, like when I injured it, I was working as a fitness coordinator at a retirement community during the week when I wasn't wrestling, and working with a lot of older individuals. They were like, "Oh yeah, you'll feel it," and they were right. So I was able to commiserate and empathize with them, and basically became one of them. So they were very accepting.
So if you're like a crappy weather person, they're like, "Oh, that person has no long-term injuries."
Yep, like, you should have seen that coming.
When you won the old-time wrestling tag team titles, what was that feeling like for you? To get some more gold.
I love winning gold and having being a champion places, shows that they believe in you and you're there for the long run. And tag team wrestling has been something I've done for a while. And as I was joking with you before we came on air, I have a tag team partner, a different one at every promotion I work for right now, and seem to be in various tag teams. So I want to see if I can win gold everywhere with a different tag team partner.
Well, that's because everyone wants to, be a part of what you're doing, man.
Oh yeah, I mean, who doesn't want to get to hang out with a rock and roll model?
That and the fact that like your success will help rub off on other people. And I mean, just seeing guys like you.
I'm giving people the rub. I give that kid the rub,
This is where you do your Stone Cold impression.
Oh hell yeah, gotta give those little mouse bastards a rub. They want to come in, right? The damn coattails, a Stone Cold, Dave Boston.
This was just brought to you by Cold Stone Creamery. Yeah, I mean that one picture I told you that recently. That one picture you had where you got the sunglasses on with the wife beater with your never sunny in Atlanta with the wrist tape and with the pose you're making. You look just like Stone Cold in that picture. I mean, aside from the bald head.
Yeah, I mean, I like to think he's my spirit animal. I'm a Southern wrestler who loves beer and wrestles with knee braces. So why not? I figure if there's a hero I should have, it better be Stone Cold Steve Austin.
And then recently, I guess you were in Virginia actually, and you were at UCW with Jimmy Flame, and I saw you guys actually did dives out of the ring.
Yeah, you don't see me dive too often. I do occasionally, and then you definitely don't ever see Jimmy Flame dive. So we had a nice stereo tope Vestita that came off pretty well. I was pretty happy with it.
And if you're the camera guy and you catch that at the right time, it looks like an aggressive noogie or head rub.
Yeah, I definitely looked like I was coming off my opponent on the head. So.
Yeah, I mean that venue looked like it was pretty nice. It's a shame I couldn't make it out that day, but
pretty cool. It was like a multi-sports complex, so we were on like an indoor soccer field. So that was made the dive a little bit more cushioned than having to hit a hard wood or concrete floor.
Yeah, you're right. I see some guys hit those the wrong way, man. Looks like it gets pretty bad.
Yep. Yeah, it's never fun to come down the hard way on a unforgiving floor.
I believe that was the same show where Dewan O'Neill won the UCW heavyweight title, right?
That is correct. That's actually the first time I'd ever met him in person, too. He's a really cool dude.
Oh, I can second that. So, great guy there. I always enjoy seeing him, whether it's at Nova Pro and hopefully get to see him branch out to other federations as well.
Yeah, he's got a good look to him. He's got a good attitude. And actually, he was fun to be around in the locker room. And yeah, I think he's definitely got a lot of potential because I was talking to him, and he said he really hadn't been working for long at all. I think a couple of years. So.
Yeah, like you said, he definitely has the look, and I think he's learning from guys like Bo Crockett, Bob Evans. So he's
definitely good minds to be able to pick, and you can tell that he's a sponge and absorbs all the good advice people give him.
So there's one thing I know about you. It's your love of Atlanta Braves baseball and the show on PS4. I guess just tell fans about how that season ended up differently than the actual season.
Oh, yeah. So, just finished my regular season. And I'm a crazy person when it comes to sports games, especially baseball games. Like most people play the road to the show mode, or they'll stimulate through season. I'm a crazy person that has to play the whole 162-game season, and all the playoff games, and the All-Star game, and everything. So, I manage, and I always find it incredibly intriguing if I'm able to finish my regular season before the real season. Because there's been times where one season took me a year and a half. But I actually finished my regular season about 3 days ahead of the real regular season, and my Braves finished with 98 wins, clinching the NL East. So I'm currently just finished the first game of the playoffs for the division series and dropped one to the Cubs right now. So definitely much different than my real Atlanta Braves, who are through their ever-continuing rebuilding, who I just saw that they fired their GM today. So.
Oh, wow. I know. I remember when I was playing MVP baseball back in the day. I mean, it was fun building up your farm system.
That game was amazing. I loved MVP baseball.
I don't know why they haven't brought it back, man. They definitely have the ability to. I think the licensing deal, I think they could definitely do it, but it's just fun to build up your teams and those franchises. And then, like you said, you get to the All-Star break and you feel like, okay, how many guys can I get put on the All-Star team? And then from there, the rest of it, like I was the same way. I played all 162 games, and it might have taken a while, but hey, man, it's all the more worth it once you get to it.
thing is, like, back in the day, like, it took a little bit less time to play each game. Like, you know, the individual game would be 30 minutes. Now with the show, if you do the full presentation, those games take 45 minutes to an hour. So I have a whole hell of a lot of free time. So then all my free time, I'm like, I'm sitting here playing a stupid baseball game.
do the batters, like, redo their gloves and all that stuff?
Oh, yeah, they'll step out, in between, yeah. You can change the presentation, and I'll do that about halfway during the season where it's more of an accelerated pace, but still, you're looking at 35, 45 minutes a game.
Yeah, you're right. That does add up. I remember years ago, I even back in the day on the Game Boy, I played the Ken Griffey game.
Oh, dude, Ken Griffey Jr. presents Major League Baseball on Super Nintendo. It was probably one of my all-time favorite games. Anything he stuck his name on, licensing-wise, always got my money as a kid.
This is Vegetables by Ken Griffey. I'm eating them.
Easily one of my favorite baseball players of all time.
I used to love that game so much, I would actually take it to baseball games when I'd go to, like, Orioles games back in the day.
Yeah, so you would have been one of the kids getting the foul ball because you were concerned with your Game Boy.
Well, fortunately, my seats were so cheap that I know I was in no danger of that happening.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, there you go. So the nosebleeds, play your Game Boy, and the characters on the Game Boy screen look bigger than the players you're looking at in real life from that distance.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. And what are your predictions for the playoffs coming up? Who do you think is really going to go all the way?
I think Washington's got a good team, and I know it's Washington and Chicago starting out for the NLDS. I think the winner of that series may win it all. I'd love to see Chicago repeat. I'd love to see Cleveland get a World Series. I was rooting against them last year because I was rooting for the Cubs.
Yeah.
But they've had the longest drought now, so it'd be nice to see them win. So sympathetic pick is Cleveland. Realistic pick, I think either Washington or Chicago takes it.
What about the Astros? Do you think they're a little overrated, or?
See, I want Houston to win because they use the model that Atlanta's using now, where you have to eat shit for a couple of years and suffer a couple of 100 lost seasons or near 100 lost seasons, and then you're a contender. So I would love for them to prove that system works. So Houston's got a hell of a team. Yeah,
you're right, and I think a lot of people have been sleeping on them a little bit. But I saw the Dodgers are pretty good too. So I think whoever wins it, whoever comes out of National League, that's really going to be the front runner. But like you said, the Indians are by far and away the best team in the American League.
Oh, absolutely, and the Dodgers' rotation in a short playoff series is great. You got Kershaw as your number one, and they've got plenty of guys behind them. So, and obviously, they ended a little bit on a skid towards the end of the season, but I think they're going to be a good playoff team too. I love playoff baseball, so regardless of the teams that are involved.
Yeah, there's nothing like it. I don't watch all the games during the regular season, but when you get to the postseason, man, like you said, there's a different feel to it. The air is crisper. It's really fun.
Oh, it's really the best time of year. Like I love it. Like you got playoff baseball, college football and NFL are in full swing. NBA and NHL are about to crank it up. So it's the perfect time of year as a sports fan. And
what about Georgia? How are they doing these days?
Oh, University of Georgia looks friggin' fantastic. They beat Tennessee 41-0 this past Saturday. So they're undefeated thus far and a top 10 team right now. So hopefully they don't choke.
So if they continue on that way, do you think they have an actual shot at the national championship?
Oh yeah. If they go undefeated and they come out and win the SEC, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Now, you also earlier mentioned your ideas for the show coming out in the next few weeks. I know, like you said, you had Cody Rhodes on there recently because you've been doing the backstage interviewing for Ring of Honor. You've had Larry Legend. What was that experience like with Cody? How did he respond to it when you initially pitched him the idea?
Oh, he was very receptive to it. Like I just asked him, hey, man, you mind doing something for my web series real quick? And he was great. Like the small line he had, he delivered very funny and wanted to make sure I was happy with the way it was done and was pitching where we'd film to make sure the sound was going to be the best and everything. So he was very happy to do it. And everybody I've had on there has been like, there's been nobody that's grumbled about about me asking them. So it's nice to have some friends and acquaintances in high places to up my visibility a little bit.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be fun to bring that to Hoboken and see what kind of magic you can get there.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and I'm definitely going to be filming at least a couple of episodes there, and there's a whole cast of characters on the Capitol roster that I would love to film with. I filmed with Sonny Kiss before, obviously, and Sonny's got to be in another one. And then, I think Preston Quinn and Bo and, everybody on that roster would be fun to film stuff with. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Put my thinking cap on and make sure I have some really good episodes for the 14th.
But like you said, it's almost like sometimes you put that talent together, and they not only create great wrestling. I mean, the comedy, just all the sharp wit of all these guys.
Oh yeah. I mean, we're all at the end of the day actors and improv actors, and, entertainers. So it works out well, I think, for doing comedy.
Our return to Hoboken will actually be your first show there. This past week, we got to see Gangone take on MJF in the main event. Did you get a chance to catch that?
I actually did not, sadly enough. So I'm going to sound like a piece of shit and go, sorry, I haven't gotten to watch the product lately.
Well, by the way, if you want to catch that, Matt, it's on Twitch. It's on here on IRW Network. It's also on pivotshare.com and gfqlive.tv every Monday at 6:05. Yes, there's another cheap plug.
Oh, so see, that's perfect. So see, I have no excuse now not to watch it, as do all of the Capital Wrestling fan base.
But yeah, they really raised the bar. I was there live for that one. That was a fun one to watch. Obviously the last two times you were at Capitol, you were there for the Cathedral. So now you're at the Hopes Community Center. What are you expecting come this time around?
I'm expecting the great fan base that was there the last couple of times that I've worked there, obviously. I'm expecting a great locker room and the great direction of the behind-the-scenes guys. Expecting the same good show and a change of scenery.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can put that roster and that company anywhere, regardless of the building, and it should hopefully create some wrestling magic. So, really looking forward to getting the return.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, I guess, a smaller venue than the Cathedral. Obviously, it doesn't have those high ceilings. It doesn't have the acoustics of the Cathedral, but at the same time, it's got a lot of character to it.
The video and photos I've seen, it seems nice. It's, like I said, kind of a more intimate setting, and I've seen there's video screens and all that good stuff, so it kind of gives it that studio feel.
You're right. And the way the lighting is against the curtains, now we're going to have some really, really good food vendors there. We're going to have just plenty of things going on there. And, all these, I mentioned our sponsors earlier. So it's going to be a lot going on. And I think it's only going to get better each time out for Capitol.
Oh, you're speaking my language when you talk about food vendors. They don't have alcohol in sight, do they?
I haven't guaranteed that, but maybe at some point, maybe they can get those proper licenses in place. And that way you can actually, somehow start selling beer at your merch stand.
Oh, that's perfect, yeah. Cross throat with a concession stand, that's great.
Now, yeah, it's exactly. If you buy this beer, you get the shirt half off. What?
Oh, yeah, perfect, yeah.
Or actually it'd be vice versa. It'd be better for you to sell the shirt and then get the beer, so that way you could still make more money.
Well, just you buy me beer and you get a shirt.
Hey, man, there you go. At the last show, speaking of punches, Bo was very fond of using a bevy of punches in his match against your tag team partner, Smiley. What did you gather from Smiley's loss to Bo?
I mean, there are very few teams or athletes that go undefeated, so, it happens. Losses happen. I'll use all those sports analogies. How's that sound? It's a marathon, not a sprint, Every athlete has a bad day, all that stuff. So, yeah, it was one loss in the grand scheme of things. And as far as Capitol Wrestling is concerned, Smiley and I are tag team competitors, not singles competitors there. So, all right, fine. He lost in singles competition. But I'm back this month, and we're going to show that we are the biggest, baddest, most formidable, crazy tag team on the Capitol Wrestling roster.
Now, wherever you were at that time, every time he got punched, did you feel it?
We live vicariously through each other, yeah.
It's like, damn it, no, dodge!
Dip, duck, dodge, dip, drive. Yeah.
And now Bo will be taking on Mike Law for the newly named Capitol Wrestling television title. What do you think about that matchup?
Oh, that'd be fantastic. I mean, you got two powerhouses there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mike Law, it's colossal against Bo. That's great. Two formidable competitors.
Yeah, and they're definitely talking a lot of trash to each other, so there's going to be no love lost between those two.
Oh, yeah, you got to have that nice level of hatred.
Yeah, the healthy level, right?
Wrestling's better when there's conflict.
Yeah, no one ever just gets along and goes, hey man, want to fight and punch each other in the face for 30 minutes? Okay, cool.
Right, yeah. Who wants to see friends wrestle? We don't want to see people beat the shit out of each other.
I've heard of a lot of guys said that in the past where they see all these guys, hype up matches and then they do the match and afterwards they shake hands. It's all this lovey-dovey stuff, whatever it is, and then they want to, so it's nice to see a little tension, a little conflict, and guys who just want to beat the piss out of each other.
Oh yeah, it's a sport and a form of entertainment. Yeah, based on conflict. Yeah, nobody wants to read comics or watch movies or TV shows that everybody gets along and it's a good sporting chance. No, we want hatred and guys to hate and guys to like. So by all means, there's definitely unlikable people on the Capital Wrestling roster. There's very likable people like Smiley and myself.
So pretty much everyone else is unlikable.
They're less likable than we are.
So now this time around, you guys are facing the Endgame, Paul Jordane and Ken Dixon, and they're a very formidable duo. What are your thoughts on them teaming up?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, they're essentially at this point two singles competitors that were thrown together as a tag team. They're not a tag team. Smiley and I are a tag team, so I think that gives us the edge as a team right there. We've teamed a few times already. We've developed a rapport. We've developed a tag team moveset, so I think that gives us the edge. The Ken Dixon and Paul Jordane, of course, are, as you said, two very formidable competitors. But they're no Matt XLs, and they're no, insane luchador Smiley.
So you think they're at a huge disadvantage, the fact that they aren't an actual full-time tag team?
Oh, absolutely. Like just because you put two all-stars together doesn't mean they're going to make a good team. Yeah, it's going to take a while to gel before you can't just put individual personalities together and expect them to perform well as a team. And the same can be said for professional wrestling.
But the last week, when Paul Jordane was here, he said, we're not worried about working together as a tag team. We're worried about hurting them together. We're going to get the 1, 2, 3, but it's the process to getting there that we enjoy.
I don't feel like I even have to respond to that. I think the goal is always to hurt your opponent enough to win a match. Because we're going to be doing the same thing. We want to win. And we're going to, I don't want to guarantee victory, but, we're going to go out there and do everything we can to win. So we're in the business of beating opponents as well and proving that we're the best tag team in Capital Wrestling. And obviously I can take a lot of punishment. Obviously Smiley can take a lot of punishment. We'll just keep coming back. We'll throw stuff at them they've never seen before. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure Ken Dixon and Paul Jordane have never faced a crazy luchador and a drunken rock star. So here's their first chance.
So what you're saying is you have great expectations for the match.
Exactly. I think we're going to have a very sexcellent time.
There we go. It's going to be Matt Sells and Smiley's Sexcellent Adventure.
I like it. Go ahead and make that t-shirt.
Yeah, right. I'm just giving you merch ideas. That's all it is.
That's perfect, yeah. I'll get my design guy right on it.
If you beat them, where do you believe that puts you in the hierarchy of tag teams in Capital?
I think that makes us number one contenders again. I think it's exactly what it does.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the only reason we lost the tag team title match we had was due to outside distraction. So I think that we still prove we're in the upper echelon of the Capital Wrestling tag team division.
And if you got another shot at Luxury Muscles Incorporated, what would you think about that?
I think we'd walk out your new Capital Wrestling tag team champion. Yeah, it happens.
Exactly. But let's just say, ideally, there's a New York Wrecking Crew versus Perfect Strangers. Who do you think would win that matchup?
Ooh, that's you're gonna put me on the spot making picks.
That's my job, right?
The New York Wrecking Crew has, of course, got a little outside advantage, so I guess I would go with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at the same time, you weren't there for the last show, but what happened was the New York Wrecking Crew, they had their match won, and they actually just continued beating down on Hysteria, and then the referee made a decision. He said, hey, you guys, it's just a little too much. You guys went a little too crazy there. We're actually going to reverse the decision.
So, you got to make sure you stay within the confines of the rules of the match. So, But if you've got that will to win and that kind of mentality, then, sky's the limit for a tag team like that.
This just goes to show how stacked the Capital Wrestling tag team division is. I mean, there's so many contenders, but you really have to rise to the top, and once you do, it really shows how good you are.
Absolutely.
Before we get out of here today, any other plugs you have? Any merchandise? Any other upcoming shows?
Yeah, absolutely. By all means, buy the It's Never Sunny in Atlanta t-shirts. Buy new 8x10s. They've just had new 8x10s arrive. Just shipped off a bunch of merch orders this morning, actually. If you're not at any upcoming shows, get at me on social media, and we can do payment through PayPal, and I'll be happy to ship you out shirts and all kinds of merch. So you can follow at All Cells Final on Twitter and Instagram. That's ALLSELLSFINAL. You just direct message me on there. Also, you can keep up with my schedule. It's also a great way to view It's Never Sunny in Atlanta. It's Never Sunny in Atlanta. 1-minute web shorts come out every Thursday around 3 p.m. So by all means, check those out on those platforms as well as youtube.com/MattSexCells. You can check me out, of course, at Capital Wrestling on October 14th. Plenty of other opportunities as well. Ring of Honor Wrestling returns to Philadelphia October 20th for a TV taping at the former ECW Arena, the 2300 Arena. I'll be there doing backstage correspondent work. On October 21st, you can catch me at two different events that afternoon, be it Old Time Wrestling in Williamstown, New Jersey. That night, I return to Pro Wrestling Magic. October 28th, you can check out me and Jimmy Flame, Cheap Thrills collectively at BCW in Baltimore, Maryland. And then plenty of other stuff coming up, as always. Like I said, just stay tuned to all my social media to see where you can find the rock and roll model in action.
And now, what would Matt Sells be for Halloween this year?
Oh, God. What would Matt Sells want to be for Halloween this year? That's a fantastic question. I mean, why would you want to dress up as anybody else when you can dress up as yourself? I think Matt Sells would want to be Matt Sells.
I was just saving the best for last, and then there we go. It's a fantastic answer. And also, just out of curiosity, how did the, I know you're raising money for the suicide prevention hotline, right?
Yes, raised a ton of money. Actually, ended up raising well over $100 that got donated to them, and got a nice little thank you letter from the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, thanking me and everybody else that helped out. That was wonderful to get to do a little something good.
No, that's very awesome. I'm really, that's a noble thing for you to do, and I'm glad that you were able to raise some money for it and for a good cause. And yeah, man, just fantastic. I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah, it's always nice to be able to use a little bit of celebrity, however small that I have at this point, to do a little good in the world. Plenty of bad, evil stuff going on, so it's nice that a lot of people came together and wanted to help me, and to have people want to band together with me to support for a good cause is always a good thing.
Well, that's always good to hear, and we're going to be definitely on the edges of our seats for your tag team match with Smiley as one half of Sex Crazed versus Ken Dixon and Paul Jordane come October 14th. So catch them there, 301 Garden Street. And also catch our next guest, Logan Easton Laroux, the champion of the 1%, in his main event match versus Sonny Kiss on October 14th. He'll be on the other side of this and come back in a few minutes. Well, we just want to thank you for your time, Matt. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you so much for having me, Sean.
And welcome back to the Capital Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, Sean O'Brien. Catch us here every Wednesday afternoon at irwnetwork.com, also on soundcloud.com/LTorsPodcast. You can follow us on Twitter at Capital Wrestling without the G. Follow me on Twitter at Sean Neutron. Any business inquiries, talent or sponsorships, go to capitalwrestling@gmail.com. It was great to talk to Matt Sells a little bit earlier on and talk about his return to Capital Wrestling, along with his tag team partner Smiley. They'll be facing the Endgame Paul Jordane and Ken Dixon come October 14th. But our next guest, we're looking forward to his return as well. He's been gone for a few months now, and now he comes back to Capital Wrestling in search of his first win. You might know him as the current PWI Ultra J champion. He's the champion of the 1%. He is young and handsome. He is a venture grapplist, And he comes to us by way of the gated community inside another gated community, surrounded by another gated community. He is none other than Logan Easton Laroux. What's up, Logan?
What's going on, Sean? Thanks for having me on.
Oh, my pleasure, man. What you been up to lately?
Today I was trying to work back in the gym, doing some CrossFit. I don't know if you know, but I tore my labrum back in May.
Mm-hmm.
So I apologize to some fans that my physique has not been 100% as it used to be. Slowly but surely getting some strength back, getting some size back, and I would make a full body return soon.
So you've definitely been a busy guy lately. We've seen you in CWF, we've seen you at Nova Pro, PCW, and now you're making your return to Capital Wrestling. And you mentioned that injury. I believe that happened versus Chet Sterling in that ladder match. Just talk about that experience for you, the physicality of it, where the injury occurred, and then eventually winning the title belt.
Okay, so I'm not 100% sure where exactly the injury occurred. I had 3 shows one weekend in May. It was Nova Pro, and then I went down to CWF in North Carolina, and then I went up Sunday to PCW in West Virginia. So 3 shows, 3 different states. And when I came home on Sunday and I fell asleep, I noticed my arm was feeling kind of funny. I was hoping I could just sleep it off, maybe rest for 2 days and get back to it. But that was not the case. I ended up seeing a doctor in June and getting an MRI done. He showed me I had a small tear in it. His recommendation was stop wrestling, which obviously I didn't do, and come back to him in 3 months, see what I could do in the gym, and just kind of work through it. So I worked through some of it, and I felt it was starting to feel just a little bit better. And then I had that ladder match with Chet Sterling, and he gave me a blockbuster off the ladder, and I fell directly on that shoulder and pretty much felt all the work I had just put in go right back to square one.
So did it make the injury worse?
I don't have any science or a doctor to prove that it did, but yeah, totally. Like, I felt worse than I did back in May when I initially knew that something was wrong with it.
Yeah. That's probably, like you said, from when you were doing that weekend of wrestling, got 3 straight shows in 3 days. It sounds like you get to that bed on the 3rd day and you just want to crash.
Yeah, totally. But still got to wake up early on Monday morning and 3 shows, 3 states, followed by real life for 5 days. It's pretty hectic.
But yeah, you've had a lot of things going on, and then obviously during that match, which was for people who weren't there, that match versus Chet was absolutely outstanding. Some of the bumps both of you guys took was off the chain, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing at times, and I'm just like, damn, I just hope. I think it was that one where was it you who jumped over the rope or Chet in holding the ladder?
Chet was holding the ladder, and I decided I should jump on him before he got in the ring, and then I could take the ladder to the ring.
Yeah, I'm watching. I'm like, man, that looked like a brutal spot. So hopefully you guys didn't hurt yourself on that one.
I felt okay. I can't speak for him. I don't imagine he felt awesome afterwards.
Yeah, especially with no mats on the floor there. But and then you took that with a really large ladder as well.
Yeah. If you watch it back on tape, and I believe it will eventually be on Powerbomb.com, and it's on MP4 and DVD now, I believe. But the noise that it makes when I lands on him and his body lands on the concrete and kind of gets sandwiched by me in the ladder it's pretty gross.
Yeah, I could hear it even from the other side of the ring. But that night you won the Ultra J title, and what did it mean to you to climb up that ladder and undo that belt and realize all your hard work was coming to fruition?
It was awesome. What can you say? It's a final victory, especially for something I've chased for, it was almost a year. Me and Chet really started, it was over a year if you consider my first attempt to get it back in January of 2016. So, it was a long pace to get there. Me and Chet felt like we wrestled each other 100 times before we got into the ladder match. I won some, he won some. But then the big one came, and I was able to pull it out, and he wasn't.
That was following your Commonwealth Cup victory. So you've been quite the role at Nova Pro, and definitely, are collecting all the accolades.
Yeah, until this past
past Nova project, I suppose.
I mean, that was another stellar matchup you were in part of with the ace of the Mid-Atlantic, Eric Royal. Talk to fans who weren't there about that matchup. I mean, that was, from what I saw on Twitter, I mean, I wasn't able to be there, but from what I saw on Twitter, it sounded like it was a 5-star classic.
I very rarely am totally happy with my performances, and I seldom will ever pump something on Twitter and recommend something. People watch something that I've done, but I must say, if you're ever interested in watching a match I've had, I would definitely recommend that one. I was very proud of it. I watched it back on tape, which is always, for those of us that care about wrestling, it's always really hard to watch yourself and not hate everything. And while there's still plenty of parts of my performance I hated in watching it, I was really happy with the way it turned out. And I think the story was there. I'm 100% happy with the story. Some of my execution maybe wasn't, but somebody on Twitter wrote, and this is exactly the vibe I was going for, so I was like marking out huge when I saw it, but someone said it felt like Macho Man versus Hulk Hogan. That's exactly what I wanted it to look and feel like as it was happening from WrestleMania 5. It's one of my favorite matches.
Yeah, I think that's what Nova Pro was intending for as well. You know, the irresistible force versus the immovable object. You and Eric Royal, who both had such stellar records in Nova Pro. And the fact that somebody has to lose that match. I mean, yeah, you had beaten him before in the Commonwealth Cup, but when a singles matchup, just both of you fresh, I mean, it's a completely different scenario.
Yeah, for sure. And, as we were wrestling, I don't think either of us really had an end game or how long we were going to go. And it was like a 12 or 13 match show, as Nova Pro shows can be, unfortunately, sometimes. So the fans, for the credit, are pretty much always good. But we ended up going about 25 minutes, and for the last, 5-ish minutes, every single fan was standing on their feet. And after 3 hours, if you can get all those people standing up, I think we're doing something right. So,
yeah, what did it mean to you to have that atmosphere and just the buzz? And I mean, I think other people. I mean, the show before that, I mean, people were on their feet after 3 hours, so it just goes to show the quality of the product right there.
Absolutely, and I mean. Not only the quality of the product, but just there's certainly energy in that building, and it doesn't feel forced or fake to me. It feels like people are invested in the storylines. People really care. Like the Angelus Land thing, I think is awesome, and I don't think there's any company doing a storyline quite like that, where there's intergender wrestling all over the place, but it's intergender wrestling, and the female is presented as a heel. A lot of intergender wrestling is kind of the same story. It's like, oh, I can't wrestle a girl. Maybe I'll just rough her up. She can't beat me. And it's kind of the girl fighting up from underneath the whole time. But
yeah,
the story that Keith Lee and Angelus told is so different than 90% of intergender wrestling out there. And the story that we're telling that Nova Pro is telling with Angelus Land is just, I think it's kind of pioneering, if I may. I don't know if that sounds super arrogant because I work for the company, but I think she's awesome, and I think everything she's done has been phenomenal.
I think if they had a women's title belt, I would envision her as champion right now.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And, I mean, you talk about that same card that you were part of. I mean, it was the 1% versus the Carnies, almost like the way I looked at it, almost like the Shield versus the Wyatts. You know, that's a 6-man tag match, and that was another a fun matchup that you guys had. Unfortunately, the Carnies came out on top there. What were your thoughts on that matchup and working with Bobby and Alex as always?
I think my teammates let me down a little bit, but I'd love to team with them again and beat up those Carnies, show them how we do in Stamford, Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very happy for the Carnies' success, but I just think we can be better. We will be better next time we face off with them.
If you want to talk about success, though, I mean, the 1%, you, Bobby, and Alex, I mean, you've all had great single success, whether it's you with the Ultra J title. I believe Bobby has the ECWA title.
Yes, he, on his comeback to ECWA, which I think was 2 or 3 weeks ago, he won the championship again. I believe he's a 2-time champion for ECWA.
Alex has the Excite Championship.
Yep, Alexander James is the Excite champion, and he is now in Europe until December, representing the 1%, and the young lion that he is, all over Europe, mostly with WXW, but he's going to be in a couple different countries.
I mean, you guys have all those title belts. I mean, that shows... Well, what do you think that really shows about the 1%?
I think promoters know what kind of face a champion should have and what kind of talent a champion should have, and how you want to represent your promotion should be through wrestlers like those in the 1%.
And also the fact that you guys are going international. I mean, you've been to England before, but Alex this is his second trip to Germany, and he just had a match last weekend with Timothy Thatcher.
Yep. I think everyone should go out of their way to check that out if you're able to for WXW.
Exactly. I mean, there's a lot of great things going on there. I know David Starr's over there, and at times, and you got Ray, Jackson Stone, and man, Walter, everyone, man. That's a great organization.
For sure. They've been around for forever too. I mean, it's like a who's who of people who have passed through there. And Chris Jericho's first book, he talks about being over there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, they definitely have a lot of prestige to them. And you talk about the Young Lion thing. Actually, it turns out, he says, when he came on my other podcast, the Squared Circle Sound Off, he said that he actually dropped that one because they have a tag team over there called the Young Lions.
That kind of seems to be a buzzword now, that whole Young Lions thing. And I had originally thought that the Young Lions Cup was strictly a Jakara thing, but I guess before that it was New Japan, which was news to me.
Yeah, I think a little bit overused these days.
Yeah, sure.
So now I guess he just calls himself the Prince of Pro.
All right, Prince of Pro Wrestling, Alexander James, royalty.
The other organization you were recently involved with was PCW, Primal Conflict Wrestling. I believe there was a show in, Ranson, West Virginia?
Yeah, their big show once a year in Ranson, West Virginia. And the 1% exploded. I wrestled Bobby Shields for the television title.
And what was it like wrestling a guy who's so familiar with you?
He is extremely familiar. He had a hand in my training. I've wrestled Bobby plenty of times. The promoter told both of us afterwards, every time we wrestle, it's something different, which I took as a large compliment. It's kind of weird wrestling with Bobby because we think pretty similarly and pretty much know each other front and back as far as what we want to do and what we're going to do. Mm-hmm. So to be able to still make everyone different can be a challenge, but it's a fun challenge.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Bobby is not only decorated as the ECWA champion, but also one half of the Capital Wrestling Tag Team champion, so he's definitely got lots of talent.
Yeah, definitely.
And what was it like working with guys like Steamboat and Shane Douglas that night?
It was pretty cool. Steamboat, I would say, is in my personal top 5 for sure, and actually I had just rewatched the Flair Steamboat match from is it Chi-Town Rumble? The one Brian Kendrick and Steve Austin just did a podcast basically doing commentary and breaking the match down. So I watched that while listening to the podcast, and it was a pretty awesome experience.
Yeah, I always like seeing those other perspectives on matches from back in the day. It's really fun.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, Shane Douglas, me and AJ have worked with him. We're part of the group, the Triple Threat over at Primal Conflict Wrestling. So always cool to hang out with him and sit under the learning tree with him.
Now, are you going to be at their PCW's next show in October?
I will not. I won't be, but Race Jackson will be in Chicago for Chicago on that day.
Oh, okay. I got you there.
But yeah, Primal Conflict Wrestling is coming back to the Northern Virginia area in Loudoun County in Leesburg, Virginia on October 28th. And I'm sure it's going to be a great card. I know Zema Ion is on that one as well.
Yeah, I believe Ken Dixon as well.
Ken Dixon is the Primal Conflict champion. He's going to be wrestling DJZ, I think.
Yeah, I think I saw that yesterday. That's going to be one hell of a matchup right there. Just two really different styles.
I was going to say, yeah, definitely a styles clash, but I bet definitely something to check out.
But if we want to keep on mixed up universes here, we're going to talk about how DJZ is going to be on Nova Pro's next card as well.
Yeah. Is his match announced yet?
I think he's going to be facing Sanjay on that Friday.
Okay, that's going to be killer. I think you're crazy to miss that match.
Yeah.
They have a TNA pay-per-view match back, like No Surrender 2012. That's fantastic.
But no, I mean, and then, like you said, the next night he's going to face Ken Dixon. So that's definitely, I mean, two stellar opponents for him.
Yeah, for sure. I think if you're in the Northern Virginia area, like, I don't know how we lasted without wrestling for this long, but those are definitely two shows absolutely to check out. Oh. I will be on the Nova Pro one on October 27th, the Friday show. So,
do you guys have opponents for that, or do you have an opponent for that yet?
I don't know my opponent yet, but I'm sure it'll be someone that I get a win back from.
Yeah, there you go. Maybe even one of those, maybe a title defense for the Ultra J title.
Could be.
Now, Capital's debut in Hoboken, there was one key part missing there, and I believe that was you.
Yep, that's right.
Can you refresh the fans' memory why you weren't there?
That was a week or 2 weeks after my shoulder injury. 2 weeks, I think. I can't remember.
It was July. The show was on July 29th.
Okay, so yeah, that would have been 2 weeks after the ladder match, and I kind of needed to take some time and heal up. So that one, I wanted to regroup also after wrestling that crazy opponent in Karloff and get my head on straight, get my body back to it for my shoulder. So took that one off, but I will definitely be on this one coming up on October 14th.
October 14th, yeah.
October 14th, and it will be my debut in Hoboken, New Jersey.
Yeah, I mean, on that last card, we saw, the main event was actually just aired this past Monday, Gangone versus MJF, and Gangone came out on top there, and we saw lots of other great action. We even saw action from Paul Jordane, who lost to Sonny Kiss, who will be your opponent come October 14th. As it stands, you are 0-2 in Capital Wrestling. You had the triple threat versus LSG and Preston Quinn, which Preston Quinn won, and you just mentioned that loss to Jason Karloff. How much pressure is on you right now to win this match?
Refresh me on what's Sonny Kiss's record.
I believe he's 1-2.
He's 1-2, and I'm 0-2. Okay.
Because he lost his first two, and then he beat Paul Jordane at the last show.
Gotcha. Well, I didn't actually lose on their debut show. I believe LSG was the one who was beat. Mm-hmm. So triple threat rules. I may have won the match, but I certainly didn't lose the match. Karloff, I just underestimated, and he might have cheated, but I wasn't successful in that. So, I think I'm better than I was in the last two shows, especially that second show where I was dealing with an injury. I'm coming back fresh. I'm coming back hungry, and there's something really at stake in that championship. I plan to take Sonny Kiss to the limit, and Sonny Kiss is going to be 1-3 come next Sunday.
Now, you mentioned Jason Karloff and his possibly cheating. Where do you believe he possibly might have cheated during that match?
I don't know. Are closed fists legal in professional wrestling?
Good point. So we're going to have to look at the film on that one again.
Capital is still a new company. They need to check their officiating, but it's all right.
Marcus, Matt, go check the cameras.
There you go.
Sonny Kiss being 1-2, and he's coming up as your opponent. Now, you guys are part of the double main event. The other half of it's going to be Anthony Gangone versus Matt McIntosh. What does it mean to you to be part of the main event once again for Capital Wrestling?
I don't know. I mean, they can advertise it as part of the main event, but we are the main event. Mm-hmm. It's cool. Out of the 3 shows I've been on, I'm the main event of 2. I think that says quite a bit about me as a promoter and quite a bit about the intelligence of the promotion that is Capital Pro Wrestling.
Definitely, you can't bring back Logan Easton Laroux and have him open up the show.
Yeah, not if you want to sell tickets now.
Now, if you talk about selling stuff, we've got, you can sell merchandise, obviously, and you've got I know in your tights, and I've seen a new logo you have. It's I believe it's inspired by the Wolf of Wall Street.
Yes, sir. It is from Stratton Oaklawn, which is Jordan Belfort's former company. Mm-hmm. It was inspired by that, but currently it is me, the venture grapplist, Logan Easton Laroux.
And how did you, when you were thinking of that kind of design, what was in your mind? I mean, it's not, obviously with the Stratton Oakmont, with your logo designer.
I sent her my idea for it. Jordan Belfort is a hero of mine, someone I look up to, and she does fantastic work. I can't think of what her Twitter handle is right now, but after this podcast airs, I will definitely tweet about it, and hopefully you can retweet that. If any wrestlers are looking for work to get done, she's amazing. She's a graphic designer professionally by day, but she's a huge wrestling fan and will be happy to work with anybody who needs designs or logos or anything like that, or gear, anything.
And is that around the same time you thought of the moniker, the Venture Grapplist?
Yeah, as soon as I saw it, it just came to me that it fit.
Although I think as a part of Capital Wrestling, being a venture capitalist makes sense as well.
Oh, yeah, for sure. After I win that championship, maybe I'll call myself that as well.
But you're speaking about that championship, and it's coming up on October 14th. They're going to name their first ever champion with no real details on how exactly that's going to go down. What is in your mind about that? What are your expectations for that?
I'm going to be watching more and more film of Sonny Kiss. As I have told you, I'm going back into my CrossFit gym. I'm training extremely hard. I've been training in the ring. I'm ready for him, and I'm ready to win.
Mm-hmm. But, well, I mean, if they're going to name the champion, who would you say, in your mind, should be champion?
Who do you think I'm going to say?
You're totally going to say Bo Crockett, right?
Why would I say Bo Crockett?
I'm just...
What sort of promotion would make Bo Crockett a champion?
Oh, man. But, no, they did have that vote, and Ken Dixon ended up actually winning the vote for who they thought the fans should be champion.
I want you to click on the results and see who voted for themselves in this poll.
So you think that Capital should just come out after you beat Sonny Kiss, in your mind, and name you champion?
Yeah, that's what we're wrestling for, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course. After I defeat Sonny Kiss, I will be the champion of Capital Pro Wrestling. The fans can poll themselves or vote for whoever they want, or Ken Dixon can add to it. But it doesn't really matter. It's what happens in the ring.
I'm sure a win on October 14th over a competitor like Sonny Kiss would definitely put that in your favor.
For sure.
Just, I guess, like Anthony Gango and Matt McIntosh, whoever wins that would definitely want to be seeing themselves as champion as well. So, I mean, that just goes to show the level of competition in Capital Wrestling right now.
Yeah, for sure. And there's an awesome roster there. It's going to be an awesome show coming up next weekend.
And is there anything about Sonny that you think might surprise you, or anything that you're game planning for specifically?
Oh yeah, totally. I think it's hard to prepare for an opponent like him. I've seen him. He obviously has the fans behind him there. If all my friends and family lived in Jersey City or Oak in New Jersey, maybe they would, but they don't live in a dump, so I don't really have to worry about that. But I mean, he's a great competitor, and he's super unorthodox, and he's super unique. But I don't think he's going to be ready for me.
Mm-hmm. And then there's another part of your arsenal that is very popular down here in Virginia, at least. It's the gated community, almost like your support system down here. And they do quite the show at Nova Pro shows, but also, I mean, they've got a lot of new merchandise that has your face on it.
Yeah, the gated community, you can follow them on Twitter, Gated Community 1, and get all of your Logan Easton Laroux merchandise through them. They've been traveling 2 shows. They were at Problem Conflict and CWF Mid-Atlantic recently.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't ask for better fans than those that travel, right?
You think one day we'll see them at the Capital Wrestling shows?
I think you could probably put some money on that. Yep, I would invest in that tip.
Or would it be a conflict of interest with the fact that the gated community holds herself to a certain level and then New Jersey itself in their minds?
They might have to up the security, but I'm sure at some point they will be there.
That's a great point right there. But yeah, I mean, speaking of that merchandise, what's your favorite new piece of merch that you have?
I think pins. I know it might be cliche in 2017 to say they're really cool, but I think the pins that they're making are awesome. There's some pretty sweet prints done of all of us in the 1%, me, Bobby Shields, Alexander James, that are full print. You can hang them up, hang them above the bed, hang them wherever you want inside your house, and class it up with some artwork of a great champion.
Mm-hmm. I believe yours even has the title belt on it, too.
That's correct, the Ultra J, PWI champion.
Which, by the way, is also done by Hayes, who does those designs, so he does a really great job.
Yes, he is a fantastic artist as well.
And before we get out of here, any other shows you'd like to mention, and other plugs you'd like to mention for yourself?
If you can't make it to Capital Wrestling on October 14th, I think you should do yourself a favor and head over to CWF Mid-Atlantic if you're more in the southern region. I know this weekend coming up, Fusion Wrestling is holding a show, I believe in Yorktown, Virginia. I'm not 100% sure. But Bobby Shields will be there. The ace of the Mid-Atlantic, Eric Royal, will be there. I'm sure it's going to be a great show. Lee Valiant. Who else is? I think MVP is going to be there. I might be wrong on that.
Sounds familiar.
Okay. So if you're in the area for that, definitely check it out. Of course, October 27th, check out Nova Pro Wrestling in Annandale, Virginia. The following day, also for Northern Virginia, check out Primal Conflict Wrestling in Leesburg. Or if you happen to be in Chicago, Chikara is running that day. And they're running twice that day, actually, in the Logan Square Auditorium in Chicago. I would definitely recommend going to see that.
They named that after you, right?
Absolutely, they did.
And is that the first time that Chikara is running in Chicago?
No. They did the finale there last year In 2015, they were actually there twice. It's a pretty regular spot for them.
Mm-hmm.
Logan Square Auditorium is great for wrestling, and those Chicago wrestling fans. I think Nova Pro Wrestling might have the best fans, but Chicago Chikara fans come pretty close.
And if you had to guess, what is Race Jackson? How excited is he to be there in Chicago once again?
I think Race Jackson is pumped. He finally gets to put his hands on his old tag team partner, Hype Rockwell, and show everyone who the true lifeblood of former tag team champions NRG was.
Yeah, I've been to Chicago myself before, not for wrestling, but that is definitely a fun town, fun city, and I mean, I've seen the wrestling crowds on TV before and how they react, so I would love to be part of that one of these days.
Yeah, definitely.
But that sounds like you got a lot going on, and fans should be following you and checking you out, and especially following that new Twitter, Logan Laroux.
That's right. Logan Easton Laroux is finally on Twitter. It's at Logan, Logan, Laroux, Laroux.
And just like a little bonus question before we get out of here. You mentioned all these new promotions you've been a part of. Where's a promotion that you're really looking to be next?
It's a tough question. I'm happy to wrestle anywhere and everywhere in the near future. I'd like to be on a more national level. I'm not going to say any specific promotions, but there's plenty of national and international promotions that I would like to work for. And I think now that as my injury heals and I can get myself back in the shape I need to be, that could become a reality in the near future. So definitely check out my Twitter at Logan Laroux for any updates with that.
Well, we're glad to see that you're on the mend. You're getting healthier by the day, and that you can be back to your normal activities. And also, we're happy to have you on the podcast and see you again at Capital Wrestling come October 14th.
For sure.
And that's going to do it, everyone, for episode 31 of the Capital Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, Sean O'Brien. I'd like to thank my guests, Matt Sells and Logan Easton Laroux, for stopping by and discussing their impending returns to Capital Wrestling on October 14th, live from the Hopes Community Center in Hoboken, New Jersey at 301 Garden Street. We're going to get to see the crowning of the first ever Capital Wrestling champion. A huge night indeed. We'll also see the double main event of the champion of the 1%, Logan Easton Laroux, taking on the Concrete Rose, Sonny Kiss. The Rogue, Anthony Gangone, will be taking on the Bad Apple, Matt McIntosh, in the second part of that double main event. The Capital Wrestling Television champion will be defending his title. The Colossal Mike Law will be defending it versus the challenger, Bo Crockett. In a Tag Team Mayhem match, we'll see Timmy Danger, Ryan Zane, and Stan Styles, managed by Portia Vaughn and Neil Sharkey, take on the team of Ronnie Burton, Joey Ace, and the newly announced Nyla Rose. She will be the third member of that team. Matthew Ryan Shapiro will be managing the New York Wrecking Crew versus the Perfect Strangers. We'll also see Logan Black continue his bitter rivalry versus Juba. Ken Dixon and Paul Jordane team up to take on the team of Sex Crazed, Matt Sells, and Smiley. Jason Karloff takes on the debuting Memphis Mofo Mark Bravura. Killian McMurphy will go one-on-one with Joe Keys. And we'll get to see the match 0. Hysteria will be taking on the team of Ben and Sinclair. So that's going to be a huge matchup right there. A really fun way to start off the night. As always, I'd like to thank you guys for listening. You can catch us here every Wednesday at 12 o'clock on irwnetwork.com. Just search the podcast section. Also go to soundcloud.com/LTorsPodcast. Catch us Mondays live at 6:05 on gfqlive.tv. We have replays here on IRW Network. Go to Twitch, pivotshare.com. Follow us on Twitter at Capital Wrestling without the G. Follow me on Twitter at Sean Neutron. Any business inquiries, go to capitalwrestling@gmail.com. Sponsorships, aspiring talent, all that. Want to give a shout out to our some of our sponsors, the Spotlight Series podcast, the Shot of Wrestling podcast, and the Squared Circle Sound Off. If you'd like to buy any of the themes of your favorite Capital Wrestling stars, go to capitalwrestling.bandcamp.com. Big shout out to Greg Massey and all the hard work he does to produce those badass themes. And if you want merchandise, go to whatamover.net and prowrestlingtees.com. It's getting cold. You might want to get your sweatshirt, your beanie. We got baby onesies. We've got all sorts of merchandise there. We got t-shirts. We got tank tops. We got a little bit of everything. So go check out those websites. whatamover.net, prowrestlingtees.com. Lots of great merchandise there. Thank you all for listening. I want to see you guys in New Jersey on October 14th, and come back next week when Joe Keys and Killian McMurphy discuss their upcoming matchup at Capital Wrestling.